Member of the EU Parliament, Nigel Farage. Barroso, you have no plan B. Very powerful. That's because everything's going according to plan, Mr. Nigel Farage. And we're going to get Nigel back on the transmission. And I know he knows that, but he keeps going, one company, one nation after and the next gets overthrown, gets bankrupted. And you keep saying everything's fine. No, it's not, sir. Your world government plan is destroying us. Well, that's because everything is going according to plan. But this really is just huge, huge news. And it is very, very exciting to have this in the news, to have it in Investors Business Daily, and other major publications are now calling it what it is. Obama administration caught running false flag against the Second Amendment. Despite the Obama administration's best efforts to characterize Operation Fast and Furious as a recently revealed ATF program that sought to put U.S.-based firearms in the hands of Mexican drug smugglers, a little more than a screw-up, the most damning evidence strongly indicates that the whole operation was, in fact, an attempt to launch a false flag assault on the Second Amendment rights of the American people. And why do we know about this? Well, we know about it because of ATF whistleblowers. And again, when I say the FBI is criminal, at the top it is. When I say the ATF is criminal, at the top it is. The average ATF agent is out there going after drug dealers that are selling guns in back alleys and being ordered to harass gun shops and things. It's a disreputable operation. I just say let the guns be out there and let us defend ourselves from criminals and decriminalize the drugs so, you know, they don't have something to make money off of. But whatever. We know about this because ATF agents blew the whistle. And now the head of the ATF has been caught lying. Really a scary organization, a very, very scary group. And well, Watson's article is extremely, extremely lengthy and proves the larger history of this. But what I'm going to do in the interest of time, because I've got to get to all this other news, a wide spectrum of news, is I'm going to, with Bob Chapman, a little bit in the third hour, go over all of this and tie it into the Whitey Bulger situation when he gets on with us. When we come back from break, I'm going to get into Geithner saying we need to raise taxes on small businesses so the government can continue to grow. And we're also going to get into the fact that Texas is set to vote on the TSA situation, the groping here in Texas today, and the feds are saying we're going to run a blockade of you and we're going to sue Texas. I mean, at a certain point, we've got to be able to put the feds back in the box. The feds themselves run by the global crime syndicate. So that is all coming up after this quick break. On the other side, this is the GCN Radio Network, GCNlive.com. And our websites are Infowars.com. We're streaming live video at prisonplanet.tv. Hundreds of nations have fallen to tyranny in the last century alone. This is our last chance to not relive history.
As we're finishing off this agenda, they'll be pulling the rug from underneath Americans at home.
They have tremendous influence on our president and Congress, and they really are calling the shots.
I think it's incumbent upon all of us as American citizens to pay attention.
Fall of the Republic identifies the enemies of our nation, the criminal offshore cartel, hell-bent on destroying sovereignty, and on its ashes constructing world government.
Tim Geithner, Bernanke, they're arsonists. They're asking for more matches. And the Congress is saying, who do we make the check out to?
Today seems like nobody does care. And right now in Washington, D.C., we have seen a fall of the Republic.
Get your copy of Fall of the Republic on DVD at Infowars.com or watch it online right now in super high quality at prisonplanet.tv. This is Alex Jones with 5 good reasons you should consider buying a solar power generator. Number 1, new climate legislation could easily double or triple your electric bill. Number 2, our new energy czar wants to control how much power your electric company allows you to have. It's true. Total government control of electricity in the name of smart grid technology is coming. Number 3, in some areas of the country, the power grid is dangerously overloaded. And now new socialist legislation is only compounding the problem. Number 4, dangerous weather is always a threat to local grids. Every year, thousands of families lose their power from weather-related outages. Number 5, A solar-powered generator provides powerful backup insurance and peace of mind. Folks, I really believe in the solar-powered generators offered by Solutions from Science, one of my oldest sponsors. You can get more information at www.mysolarbackup.com. That's mysolarbackup.com. Remember, the government doesn't own the sun, so go to mysolarbackup.com or call 1-877-327-0365.
The folks at eFoods Direct have saved you from the huge price increases on food by buying raw materials ahead and packing your supplies themselves. They haven't increased their prices on great long-term food reserves since last year. With the rising cost of raw materials and gas prices, they can't hold off any longer. As of July 1st, eFoods Direct is forced to increase their prices so they can still ship you the best storable food on the planet. Until the end of June, you can lock in the cost of your food at last year's prices by calling 800-409-5633. Your time is running out to build your supply with the best food on the planet at last year's prices with eFoods Direct. Call 800-409-5633. Prices go up at the end of June. Go to efoodsdirect.com/Alex. Call 800-409-5633 or go to efoodsdirect.com/Alex.
Genesis Communications Radio Network proudly presents The Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on for your mind.
Well, he just got back from Greece, and reportedly the traitorous Greek government, despite the fact that polls show over 98% of the Greek people are saying, we don't owe this money, and they don't. This is a fraud. Papandreou has paid off. We want you arrested. The traitorous, paid-off Greek government is saying, we're going to basically sign you on to the derivatives debt. And then right on the heels, they go, oh, okay, well, Ireland signed everything over. Greece has. Now Portugal and Italy have to, and then that will lead to Spain and Germany. And just like dominoes, because it's planned, it's designed. We have the IMF World Bank documents, 2002. When they planned all of this, it's going according to plan. The bankers sell you the derivatives and make giant profits. Then they tie all your pension funds into it. When they go belly up, they say, bail it out or it'll be the end of civilization as we know it. But it's designed mathematically to where you can never fix it. It destroys you and transfers all your wealth to these guys. And why would they do something like that? Because they're criminals. They don't want to have a good free market society. Now, here's some of the economic news. Economic trouble puzzles Fed chief. And he said that again today. He said it yesterday and again. He says he knows the economy's struggling and they don't know why. And, quote, don't have a precise read on why the slower pace of growth is persisting. Even with their cooked, phony, crackerjack box numbers, they're admitting the economy stalled. Folks, it's a depression by every real yardstick. 20+% unemployment now for over 2 years. Inflation increasing, food prices going up. Upwards of 48 million people now. A few months ago it was 44 million. Upwards of 48 million now on food stamps. Can you imagine if 48 million people were in bread lines, soup kitchen lines, what that would look like? That would make the Great Depression look like a time of cornucopia, okay, a time of Valhalic plenty. I mean, you know, bring out the roast pig and mead. I mean, we're in Odin's palace here in 1933 compared to what is going on now. But they know how to veneer it. They know how to hide it. They know how to have everybody on welfare, and then they have those welfare hordes that will do whatever they're told in the future to keep getting that check. And the answer is they're going to take the middle class's money. And here's the headline. Geithner, taxes on small businesses must rise so government doesn't shrink. You can watch the video clip there, CNS News, from his testimony. They say this stuff with a straight face. Continuing with the financial news, U.S. to lose second place in world trade to India. Yeah, just a few months ago, we dropped from the #1 trade group in the world to China, and now we're set, CNBC reports, to India. But they're saying it'll take time for that to happen. Yeah, right. Continuing with this news, we have a Bob Chapman article that has a good quote from the Congressional Record. Chance didn't create the economic crisis is the headline. What Congressman Louis McFadden said of the Great Depression is as true today as it was in the 1930s. As chairman of the House Banking Committee, he said, quote, "It was no accident. It was a carefully contrived occurrence. The international bankers sought to bring about a condition of despair here so they might emerge as rulers of us all." And they got great power at that time, but now they're bringing us even into more tyranny under the carbon tax dictatorships. Look at this article from yesterday. Oil prices tumble after reserves released. And the day before that, Lindsay said, nope, the pressure's done it. They're about to try to actually reduce them for a while before they go back up. But again, I don't think his sources or anybody's sources in the elite have all the answers or control everything. The globalists are trying to dominate society, but more and more they're failing. In the past, when people weren't aware of their designs, they had almost 100% success rate. Not anymore. I'd say more like 50%, 55, 60 maybe. That's why they're trying to really take over right now. So that's some of the news on that front. Here's some of the other financial news. Job picture grows worse as weekly claims post jump. People getting unemployment jumping in this great, we hadn't had a recession since June of 2009, 2 years ago, according to Bernanke. So, you know, he says everything's fine. Don't be a conspiracy theorist. Don't question their cooked numbers. Here's another report, Reuters, saying the same thing about jobs in deep trouble. And again, on the heels of Greece saying that they're going to go ahead and give the bankers whatever they want, Greece budget hole threatens to swallow Europe. And next, it's Italy and Portugal, just as we told you years ago, the chain, the order of who they'd be taking down. Bipartisan debt talks have grown more contention. Republicans have walked out of meetings dealing with raising the debt ceiling. All of that is rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. The big issue here is that they are continuing QE2. First, they said they wouldn't do QE3, but as Chapman predicted, now they're saying we may do QE3. Well, that will just accelerate the devaluation of the dollar. So that's a default, technically. And it's not official default. And the Chinese said that, of course, 3 weeks ago. They said, you've already are defaulting, and that's why they're moving completely out of treasuries. So are the Arabs and the average good old boy. Because I've had folks walk to me on the street and go, I don't care if the dollar devalued. It'll help manufacturing. If we had any manufacturing left, and if it was long-term something that happened, it might be help manufacturing. But when you have the fact that we've already been deindustrialized, and you realize it's coming on so strong, it's going to be devastating. And the dollar being devalued will affect everybody's cost of living and destroy people on fixed incomes. Here's another report. This is out of Yahoo Finance. Retirement as we know it is dead. And they have a breakdown of that and saying now folks are going to have to work till they're 85. Well, yeah, that's past the time you're dead. The average person, one average male lives to 75. Average female, 77. Here's another one. So don't worry, though. When you're 85, you'll be able to stop working. They have another report here breaking down why are food prices rising so fast. And CNBC asked the question, celery up 28%, coffee up 40%. They ask why. Well, because the dollar's being devalued. That's why. But CNBC doesn't seem to understand that, doesn't seem to know that. Here's another report out of AP. Greece presses banks, low earners in debt crises. Greece's beleaguered government said yesterday that it will start taxing minimum wage earners and encourage local banks to help the state delay debt payments for bonds maturing as of 2015. And that's the austerity orders, is to kill their credit and to technically default but not officially default, and then start taxing the poorest people, which has been done under the shock therapy doctrine of the IMF and World Bank in every third world country to destroy them. It's designed to destroy them. Okay, I want to get into the incredibly positive news in Libya and the incredibly positive news in our constitutional republic in the next segment ahead of Max Kaiser. Hillary having to come out yesterday and again today and saying, what side are you on, Congress? We're on the side in the Obama administration of the Libyan people. You mean the al-Qaeda groups they're funding? And again, if you got to give me a choice between Gaddafi and al-Qaeda, I'm sorry, I'm not going to side with Gaddafi. I don't like unsavory dictators, but as far as dictators go, he is actually benevolent in many respects, and that place is the jewel of Africa now. Free health care, the whole 9 yards, industrial development, and the globalists don't like that. You know, they say the only way socialism works is if you have a dictator. But it still doesn't work very well. I'm not for it. But there's that rare